Here we go. We got a 1992 Jackson 5-string bass guitar. I guess it's a Concert V bass. And take a look at it here. Got it in for a bit of work. Somebody's chewed off the end of the truss rod nut, so I'll be attempting to fix that later. But right now I've got a spot in the binding. It's actually the neck. Where is it at here? Where the neck sticks out past the binding. It actually feels really annoying under your hand. You can catch your thumb on it. It's right there. And I'm going to show you how you can fix that spot. Yeah, it's right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the neck off this so it's easier to work on. I'll show you how you can fix that spot with just a minimal amount of tools. Alright, you want to get yourself a straight razor and just actually try and shave the high spot down. So I've actually had to scrape away a fair amount of finish build up on the edge and some of the wood to get the binding and the edge of the neck to line up properly. It looks kind of awful right now, but what we're going to do is I've got some 2000 grit sandpaper just stuck to a piece of weather stripping, and I'm going to put a little bit of naphtha lighter fluid on there and just wet sand the area. And I'll work at that for a bit and then we'll take a look. Alright, so with the 2000 grit sandpaper I've got the edge feathered out quite nicely. Feels great. So I'm going to repeat the same sanding with some 3000 grit sandpaper. There, it looks pretty good. Feels really good. Now what I'm going to do is the area where I've taken it down to a bit of wood on the edge here, I'm going to put a little bit of shellac on there. What I'm going to use is the Zinster's Bullseye traditional finish and sealer shellac, and it says it's clear, but it actually has a bit of an amber color, which is nice because it'll yellow up this freshly scraped binding a little bit. Can shaken up really well, and I'm just going to run a little bit on the edge with my finger. I'll let that dry, and I'll probably do 2 coats. Alright, so I've got 2 coats of the shellac over the repaired area, and I think I'll let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll sand it with the 3000 grit sandpaper and then buff it, and you won't even know that anything was done to this neck. Alright, so this morning the shellac looks really good. So what I'm going to do now is just give it a light polish with some 3000 grit sandpaper. And once that's done, I will Put a little bit of Minwax finishing paste on it and then buff it. So I finished with the 2000 and 3000 grit sandpaper, and then the last thing I'm going to do is put a little Minwax paste finishing wax on the areas that I fixed up, and then I'll buff it out on the MIJ buffer. So here's a shot of the repaired area, all buffed out. No sharp edge. Gloss is uniform all the way around. If you didn't know this neck had anything done to it, you would never know. So the next step would be to clean the fingerboard up and put some lemon oil on it, try and get some moisture back into the fretboard, and hopefully keep this from happening again.